Dear ones, I used Archangel Michael. Today we return to our teachings on the letters of Christ. Sananda. Today I'm going to comment on letter number 4. My brothers, I hope you are really delving into the issues. If you read these letters 10 times, each time you read them, you will pick up something different, so an in-depth study is necessary. That's what I told you. You can read them all at once, absorbing as much as possible of what is said. Afterwards, you go back to the first one and start reading and studying again, because there is much more there than just a bunch of written sentences. There is a teaching and an evolution there, which each of you will go through. I continue to say that anyone who read these letters a long time ago was unable to understand much of what they read, because their thoughts, their hearts, were not prepared for the truths, for what is said there. So today, when reading the letters, the understanding is very different. Firstly, because you already have another idea of what is happening, of everything that is being said, and second, you today are ready to resonate with the energy contained in the letters. So it's as if learning penetrates their minds in a much calmer way, in a much deeper way. I can also say that there are still a large number of you who are a little skeptical about the things you are reading. Believe me, because I said they are true, but they still cannot accept what is being said. Breaking those limiting beliefs, those teachings, acquired since childhood, is very difficult for them. So what to say? No, I'm not going to condemn you, much less say that you should stop reading, absolutely. Only your journey is more difficult. You are a little behind in relation to the others, but if you truly want to understand what is written there, and accept it, but not accept it because I said they are true, it is accepting it because you believe it. That whoever is saying that there is really Sananda, and that he is telling the story, which he himself lived. So for those of you who still feel a little uncomfortable, before you start reading, ask Sananda to free your hearts and minds from any prejudice or doubt. Open your hearts to Sananda, ask him to fill your hearts with intelligence and wisdom, so that you can absorb every word said correctly and calmly. And so you will be able to read the letters, and absorb much more. So my brothers, realize this, the journey is long in reading and studying these letters. It's not simply reading and leaving it alone, it's reading and learning, effectively taking what is important from what is written there, and making it count in your lives. It doesn't matter when the letters were written, they are very up to date. Because everything that is there is true at any time. So today we are going to comment on letter number 4. In this letter, the most important subject that Sananda talks about, or rather, one of the subjects, because there are two very important subjects. The first in relation to his religions. This is what I have been saying here for some time now. Religions were not created by beings of light, religions were created by men. Sananda did not create Christianity, they used Sananda as a representative for this religion. No, I cannot say that everything was done with malicious intent. No, there is a lot of good in each of the religions. We cannot simply condemn that they are all bad, and that nothing that is said there is any good. No, I could never say that, and I never did. There are good aspects, and there are bad aspects. What I can say as a bad aspect is the degree of manipulation that was done in relation to what the beings of light said. To keep them trapped, to keep them imprisoned. Those rules that came from the minds of men. Among them is that punitive and vengeful God, who if you did not follow the correct words, you would be punished. This was the bad side, not just of Christianity, but of all religions. They all imposed fear, they all imposed themselves to follow the being of light, but chained, tied to fear, not to respect, to fear, that if you didn't do what was ordered to be done, you would be punished, you would go to hell. There, several figures were created, so that you could understand heaven, hell, God, the devil, everything to keep you in polarity, duality of good and evil. Yes, good and evil exist, but not in the way it was put to you. Because firstly, there is no punitive God. I want to believe that you have already understood in previous letters, what I always say here, you reap what you sow, so everything you are looking at in your world is a result of everything you have already done. Then many think like this, but I am harvesting things that other souls did in times past. Oops. Oops. I'm going to talk here about souls that have been here for millennia and millennia and millennia. Who did what? So you think you are totally blameless, that you never did anything, because your current consciousness does not allow you to attack Gaia, it does not allow you to attack animals, you are a person who does not eat animal flesh, that is, you think you are the Be Perfect, and your soul has been here for how many years? How many millennia have you been on this planet? And did she have this awareness millennia ago? Of course not. Everything that is there is a consequence of what the souls of all of you did one day. No one is blameless, you all did wrong things, regardless of the attitudes you have today. Today you are more aware, your souls have evolved. Excellent. Perfect. But they haven't been evolved their entire lives, you don't know what you did back there. This is what I have already told you, my brothers, it will be very difficult to find one of the souls, who are incarnated on the planet now, who has not taken the life of a human being, of another brother, because practically all of you, all souls, have participated in wars, and had to kill the enemy, because that's how it worked. So how can you get up today and think that your entire past, that other pasts, of other souls, are the causes of all this? No, no, it's all of you, you're all causing all of this, through your thought forms. Then many will say again, but it wasn't our fault, we were manipulated by the Dark Ones. Yes, a good part of it was. Look what I said, a good part. Why didn't the rest go? So my brothers, it was all your decision, don't blame us. It's the same thing you do. A simple example, you say you're on a diet, you go on a diet where you won't eat sugar, then comes someone you love very much, and puts a big piece of pie in front of you, and then they say, wow, I made it for you with all the love and care. What do? Do you respect your decision not to eat sweets? Are you very grateful for the love put there and don't eat it? Or do you simply throw everything up and accept that pie? Then I ask you a question, did someone force you to eat the pie? Was it shoved through your mouth, down your throat? No, you ate it because you wanted to. So don't blame us for the situation in your world today. You chose, you accepted. Why don't many accept it? Why are many different? But the vast majority didn't. The vast majority let themselves be carried away by everything they were taught. So here is the result, my brothers. Nothing that happens on your planet is our fault, it is strictly your fault, who back there let yourselves be enveloped by the sweet words, when the Dark Ones arrived here. And who are those souls who did this back there? The vast majority of you, who are here now. So realize, you are only reaping what you sow, nothing more. So, don't think of yourself as isolated from the rest, because you in this incarnation are aware of what is right and what is wrong, and don't think of yourself as better than anyone else because of this, because your soul, has been around for a long time, and she's already done a lot of things wrong. So this is one of the great teachings, that religions created dogmas and rules to enforce, to predominate, the idea of one person, the one who created them. And then come all the distortions that you know in today's world. Each religion distorted the words spoken to their liking, distorted the way things were said according to their understanding. The greatest example of all are Eastern religions, which simply think they have the right to kill other brothers, just because they do not follow their precepts, just because they don't admit what they teach. So they think they have the right, they think they have the power, to take the life of others, to subjugate, to hurt, all types of aggression against those who do not agree with what they say. Was this said by Muhammad, or by the gods of Palestine? No, of course not. Then you realize how things were distorted, at the pleasure of each people, each place. As I said here, all of this was influenced, of course, by the Dark Ones. Very well, but then I ask you a question, How come most of you never swallowed much of what was said? Because you knew it was all a lie. Deep inside, his soul screamed, what is written there is a lie, what this being, who claims to represent from above, is saying is a lie. And you never let yourself get involved, because you knew it was a lie. Now the vast majority do not. That's why your planet today is the way it is, because religions have taken such power that they are manipulating the world. And it is these truths, which you will know in the future, that scandalized you, because there is a lot of dirt behind it all. How do you see it, Sananda? How did he present himself at that time? Sananda was always simple, humble, walked barefoot on the street. And what is the religion that he supposedly created today? It is one of the richest in the world. Where is Sananda's humility? Where is? In the luxury, created by the churches, in the pomp of those who claim to be representatives of the highest. I think you are fully aware that Sananda would never agree with this, in the same way as other religions. So, my brothers, when I tell you that you have to be ready for the truths, I am not exaggerating, there's a lot of rot underneath it all. There needed to be something that made them fear, that's why religions were created. You have to fear something, because otherwise, you rebel. So, you were taught to always live under someone's yoke, in this case, religions. And with that, they grew, multiplied and dominated their entire planet. Each in their own space. This is the most interesting thing, several religions were created. How many religions do you know that talk about Sananda? Many, each with their own understanding, each one, with their own interpretation of what he said. But what is the point of this, of there being so many religions? Why just one or two, which could cover the whole world, why not just one? No, because power and wealth could not be in the hands of just one person, everyone wants to win. So let's create religions around the world, and build churches, temples, mosques, whatever the name, and start manipulating the people around us, into whatever we want. So, this has always been the goal of religions, keep them under the yoke of fear and manipulate them. It's very easy to go ahead and say, God wants this, He wants that, from you. And you, as you believe, follow what He says. Another important point in this letter 4 is about men and women. Understand this, my brothers, why would our Father or Mother God create two sexes? No, I'm not going to go into labels that you created in today's world. There are two types of physical bodies, one male and one female, that's what I'm going to talk about, because that's what the letters talk about. Why does our Father or Mother God create two? Because everything is a balance. Let's say that the male body, the male physical being is the one that has physical strength, is the provider, is the one that gives material support, and the female is the one that reproduces, is the one that organizes, is the one that plans. Please do not distort my words, listen to what I'm saying, without criticism. The objective here is to show what the intention of our Father or Mother God is. The intention was balance. The way you have to procreate is the same. Two types of cells are needed for procreation to occur, one is in the male physical body, the other is in the female physical body. So this way you procreate, and all those children that are born need a father and a mother. So this balance was created by our Father or Mother God, in which neither the female body nor the male physical body is better than the other, they complement each other, totally, in providing necessary things, in the balance of the house, in the harmony of the family, in the love between the two. Everything in balance. However, many men, encouraged precisely by the wrong ideas of religions, began to take away women's power. When our Father or Mother God created two different physical bodies, there was no one more powerful than the other, each with its functions, they completed each other, they balanced each other. But from the moment men were encouraged to take away the power that women had, everything changed. The woman became an object, of contempt, of inferiority, because she didn't even have a voice. And this imbalance increased over time. Today everything is out of balance. Women took on roles they had never previously assumed, just as men did. So you've often asked me questions about families. What happened to families? It happened that there is no longer balance, which is why a female physical body, a male physical body, can no longer live in harmony. Because there is no longer any balance, because women started doing things that were strictly masculine, and so did men. Then one invaded the other's space. There is no more balance. So no more families. They only survive when this balance exists. When one doesn't try to be stronger than the other, when one accepts the other as he is, and is accepted too. So in these cases, the family still survives. But in the vast majority, where everyone wants to impose their way, oh, if it's not the way I want it, it won't be. We can't go on. So families break up, because no one gives in, no one wants to supposedly lose that power they acquired. Because supposedly, it was with great difficulty that he acquired that power, and he will not lose it because of someone else. So my brothers, the imbalance is there, total. And then new forms of family emerged. Why? Because your physiology no longer does, it no longer matters. Today you take care of the meeting of souls, which is very beautiful. I'm not telling you that this is something we condemn. Because before everything there is love, love between souls. It is as if you are evolving a little more, moving from physical love to soul love. That's perfect. However, ideally, that balance would continue to exist. That women should not continue to be victims of men, simply because they are women, because they think that it is inferior and that they have to fulfill exactly what they want, what they do, they send it and it happens. This was the big problem created by this whole imbalance. I already explained it to you here, about sex. Sex is a perfect meeting of souls, where you reach a peak of energy that you have no idea about. As I already explained, this culmination makes your souls light up. So what to do? We need to end this. That's what those who had the power, of religions in hand, thought. No. Sex is dirty. Sex is only for procreation. I already commented about this here. But the man cannot procreate without orgasm, but the woman was not allowed to have one, because she was an inferior being, she had no desire, she was a simple puppet, in the hands of men. So let's distort the sex. Let's distort everything. So that you lose that power. So that you don't have that wonderful moment, when your souls evolve, in which their souls light up. So everything was very well thought out, let's distort sex. Here comes all sorts of modifications, all sorts of, how can I say, changes in the meaning of the word, sex, so that you get lost. And then, they came, addictions, transgressions, rapes, sexual violence, pornography, pedophilia, all these deviations, of such a beautiful thing created by our Father or Mother God. Many of you still feel sex this way, as dirty and wrong, as a bad thing to do, because it will be hurting me. Total mistake. Now, it's not sex for sex's sake, it's sex with love, with the union of souls. Because what you experience today, which is simply a moment in which there is no surrender, is anything but sex, which our Father or Mother God created. Because when there is no surrender, it is as if you were, miles away from each other, the two souls. Yes, each one can even feel the orgasm, but not in the same intensity as if they were two souls who truly loved each other. And worse, you still bring the other person's energy, which you don't even know if it's good or bad. Remember, it is the peak of energy exchange that you have. Bringing all sorts of bad feelings, and then you don't understand why. So, everything was distorted from the moment the woman was made inferior and was seen as an animal. Everything could be done against her, everything. She no longer had the will. I could do with her whatever I wanted. This is how men thought, and this is how it has been done throughout all these millennia. Today, women have a voice, women have risen up, but everything is in total imbalance. Because today she assumes postures that are no longer feminine, they are postures that she assumed from men, to protect herself, to be able to stand up, to be able to scream and say, "No. I am a human being just like you. You don't dominate me anymore." It's a shame, that few women think like that. Many still follow religions and allow themselves to be subjected to all sorts of suffering. Because they think, that because they got married and are with that man, they have to endure everything, because that's what religion says. Few of you have really stood up, few of you today have a voice, and fight for others. But understand, my brothers, all this is an imbalance, it is not correct. There is no war of woman against man, or man against woman, this war could not exist. There would have to be balance. Each one with their role, each with their own activities, bringing balance to everything. Of course, many of you today no longer accept this. That balance is gone, you can't even imagine being submissive anymore. But, I'm not talking about submission here. I'm talking about balance, where you would be respected, but you would also respect men. Because today, there is neither one side nor the other, and that is why your world is twisting. You are leaving aside the duality of the male and female body, as a whole, to experience only the meeting of souls. We cannot deny that this was an interesting evolution. But this was not to have happened if the balance had been maintained. So my brothers, the way your world walks today, there is no going back. In which everyone wants to shout louder, everyone wants to assert their will, their idea, they want to make it count, it doesn't matter at what price, it doesn't matter who needs to step on, who needs to destroy, to rise. And this happens, with men and women. Power speaks louder. So my brothers, realize how much everything was manipulated, it was distorted at the whim of those who started it all, that everything had a beginning. I can say that these people who started, who founded the religions, were very well manipulated, so that all this happened. Because if there was balance between men and women, your world would not be as it is today. And I say more, the dark ones would have left a long time ago, because nothing would reach them, because the balance would be perfect. But, they were smart to take away power from one side, supposedly on the more fragile side, which is not at all fragile. Compare the female body with the male body. Is the feminine fragile? No, I'm not taking away the strength of the male body. But think, who feels pain to procreate? Who carries another being in their womb for 9 months, with all the consequences of that? Who is it? So who is the weaker sex here in this story? But there is a reason why women were chosen, because they are the weaker sex. Because like I said, there was a balance, you were created in balance, man and woman. Why did they choose women to be inferior? You will still know why. So there you have it, my brothers. This is a very complex subject. But certainly today, you can no longer see yourselves in balance. That balance no longer exists. It may even exist in people quite isolated from society, who still enforce those rules, from the beginning of time, but with mutual respect. One not trying to be better than the other. There are relationships like that. They exist. And they are very happy, the whole family is happy, because no one wants to prevail over anyone else, they respect each other fully. They understand that they are together, to grow together, learning from each other. So yes, there are, but unfortunately it is a minority and very small. Because nowadays, you have become individualistic, you think about yourself first, then about others. The whole? Oh, you don't even think, you just think about yourself, what will make me happy? And they run after it. It doesn't matter how you achieve it, and what you are causing in the whole, what you want is to be happy. Yes, every action has a reaction. And there is the balance that your world is going through right now, a total imbalance. But, you are moving towards a return to balance. Please, those who are homosexual, do not imagine that you will be punished, or removed in the new world. You have found a new way of living. That's what I said here, a meeting of souls. There is no judgment. Remember? We do not judge or condemn. But the tendency is for balance to return. This is all the result of the imbalance, which has occurred over millennia. So don't worry, you are children of our Father or Mother God, just like the others. That's what I said, you made an evolution in the relationship, there is no longer a balance between bodies, there is a meeting of souls. Only that. So there is nothing to condemn, there is nothing to blame. What is certain is that much of what happens today is not normal, it is the result of the imbalance of souls over time. Why do I say it's not normal? Because it is not the balance, created by our Father or Mother God. But please, I don't want those here who condemn homosexuals to raise their flags, it's so? Archangel Michael said, that it is not normal. Please do not distort my words. And so that this does not happen, I will repeat again, our Father or Mother God created a balance between man and woman. Over the millennia, an imbalance occurred between these two beings. And you have now evolved into another type of balance, which is, the meeting of souls. Only that. This is the result of the evolution of imbalance. Not that this is an imbalance. Please don't distort what I'm saying. Being the result of imbalance is not being an imbalance, it's just a result, it's a new way of living, it's a new way of loving, it's not an imbalance. Only you are reaping, what was planted throughout all these times, in which that balance, which a woman found alongside a man, no longer exists. So, you looked for other ways. Only that. This is called evolution. There is no judgment, there is no condemnation, everyone is equal before the Father. I have already told you this here, and I repeat it and I will repeat it, millions of times, we do not see bodies, we see souls, and the love that is in each one's heart. So for us, there is no difference, whether you are heterosexual or homosexual, any difference. You are a soul, each of you is a soul, and that is what we see, souls. So everyone is blessed in the same way, there is no difference, there is no condemnation, I'm just trying to explain why this has happened in such a big way recently. You have evolved. Since there is no balance between what our Father or Mother God created, you have found a new way to love and be happy. It's the law of evolution, that's it. So my brothers, read the letters a lot, but read with your heart. Leave your beliefs and discriminations aside. Don't judge. Don't condemn. You are not judges, nor is our Father or Mother God a judge. How do you want to be judges? How do you want to condemn the other? Do you have a crystal ball that can see tomorrow? Remember, whatever you sow, you reap. Be careful when judging others, when recriminating against others, when discriminating against others. Because tomorrow, you could be judged, recriminated and discriminated against, because what goes around comes around. You threw it to the universe, so the universe will give it back to you, for sure. So don't throw stones at anyone, don't get up and talk loudly about someone. Who are you? You are nothing to blame others for. None of you are. You are evolving souls, full of defects, full of mistakes, trying to get it right, making mistakes and trying to get it right. So, which of you might think you're better than the other? Which soul that is incarnated there is better than the other? None. No soul is better than the other. They all have flaws, and serious flaws. You don't know what you've already done. So don't just look in the mirror and see what you are today. You can be good, engaged people today, what about the past? Did it go off? It didn't go off, stayed there. So much is there, that you are incarnated. If you were an evolved being, a perfect soul, you were not incarnated, you were in another dimension a long time ago. Remember this, if you are there it is because you are still evolving and learning. Wake up my brothers. Wake up, so that you are not caught by surprise later on. I am Archangel Michael. I am here ready to help each one of you understand everything that you cannot yet absorb.